Let us check the journal. Isabel and Ashton arrived at Salemwell, having an argument about the missing BRC employee's investigation. Annoyed by the noise, Rebecca interfered and, in the end, asked Ashton to keep an open mind. Keep an open eye on things. Look at that faceless! As she was about to leave the party, Rebecca caught sight of a sulking Luke. She reminded him that brooding wouldn't fix anything and that he should be with his wife instead. Before leaving the embarrassed man, Rebecca caught a glimpse of a shadow standing behind him. Rebecca found Ashton waiting for her upon exiting the mansion, irked because he was nowhere to be found during the entire party. She demanded to know what he was doing, or what was going on. When he couldn't give her an answer, Rebecca warned that they'd still talk about it some other time. What a threat. Oh my god, cat. Yes, meow meows. Meow meow. The moon is almost at its highest by the time we reach Salemwell. Even after our respective heads have cooled off, the atmosphere within the car remains rife with unspoken tension. This isn't a problem so easily fixed with a few handshakes. Maybe not those kind of handshakes. Quite frankly, I don't know what will. Ashton himself has no idea what to do when he alights and dawdles awkwardly in the middle of the car park, unsure. It almost seems like he's having an internal debate whether he should say goodbye or mutter another apology. I could have driven him away, purely out of spite the second I've gotten off. That's the kind of handshake you should be having. Cooler heads prevail when everyone has gotten off. Still, old habits die hard. It's late, and Ashton's flat is on the other side of the city, thus he ought to just stay with you, right? Irritation might still rear its head every time I look at him right now, but I'm not too cruel to put him up on another long drive. Especially when he still appears as if he hasn't gotten any rest.
You can borrow the couch.
I throw the keys to my flat his way before protest forms on his lips. Although he catches it with ease, he eyes it with a wary expression and shoots a puzzled glance my way.
You haven't been forgiven. We're still going to have that talk, believe me.
After the friendly handshakes.
But I'm not about to send you out on another drive looking like that. It's late. Go get some rest.
We're setting aside a lot of loose ends like this, but he appears to have accepted that reason. At least, in the meantime. He does give me another questioning glance when I shove past him, pulling my mobile in the process.
Where are you going? I thought...
You go ahead upstairs. I need to contact Professor Andrew.
Andrew? Why would you...
That guy?
Oh, no. Please.
Who is he?
Is this that thing Isabella said this morning? Again? I already gave her my word, Becca. I'll look into this BRC crap. No need to drag the old guy into it.
Don't bring the old man, your former lover, into this. Of course, he's still skeptical. It makes one wonder if he's even seen anything at all. Figures this curse will stay away from the scoffer. I realized it was skeptical, but, you know, American and English spellings for certain words. But this is another loose end tonight that I can't just leave alone, Ashton's beliefs notwithstanding. It just so happens that it's one I can delve into using means other than taking a look at the mansion itself.
Ashton, do you really think I still give a shite after that stunt you pulled tonight?
Gods, he must have done something particularly horrible.
No, but this is...
And he's gonna smack some sense into you, apparently. I've spent so many years with him to know this is about to turn into another argument. Yes, you two would do great as a couple. Before he can finish it, I cut him off with a firm raise of my hand and slap the shit out of him.
Look, I don't care. There are weird things happening around here. And yes, it's Isabella's brand of weird.
Bravo, Rebecca, now that you're finally on the side of right.
Ghostly voices, strange sounds, and a bloody woman sitting at the back of my car. You don't have to believe me. And I no longer have the patience to convince you, so just Leave me be, Ashton.
He doesn't push it, growing quiet instead, although I know he has a whole case of it prepared inside his head. But there's a reluctant shift in his movement when he steps away from our conversation. Short of climbing the stairs, he stops, turns to face me with an expression of almost too... conflicted?
Are you really sure
What?
that there was something? That you've been, seeing things?
Yes, I'm very, very certain. Now go. And you better not break anything in there. The last time I let you stay over, it was that statuette Belle gave me. You haven't even replaced that one.
Oh, that was intentional, huh? The last of my reprimand goes both unheard and unanswered as he disappears behind the stairs. If things aren't as strained, he might have a quip or two about that, followed by light banter. Instead, for a long moment, I am left staring after him. There's something in the way he asked it that nags. Coupled with his expression, the whole exchange just feels unsettling. One that doesn't fade, even as I gather my thoughts and shift my focus on another, even as I dial Professor Andrew's number. Wait. Why did he object to this guy? Wasn't he, like, one of the options for Isabella to talk to, or the priest? And that was Zachary's recommendation? I don't know. That is when it clicks. During the long wait for the professor, one stray thought emerges from the unease. Ashton has not intended for his question to be a jibe. It's concern. Concern for your mental health? For what, though? For my well-being? The letter's curse? The woman I mentioned? The answers for those will have to wait, however. Finally, the call connects and Professor Andrew's voice echoes from the receiver.
Professor Andrew?
Rebecca? It's late.
It's late, but hey, booty call's a booty call.
What can I do for you?
I know, I'm sorry, but this is a bit urgent.
After all, this is a more pressing matter. Our lives might be at stake and we're still in the dark.
Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you to do me a favor. ...
October 30th, Sunday. Do they talk in the morning? I don't know. I guess not. Professor Andrew Clark has agreed to meet with me 2 days later in front of Luxborn's public library. Oh, we skipped 2 days. I guess they didn't even have that conversation, huh? Or we're gonna see that conversation as Ashton? He has other commitments, but being a longtime family friend has its perks. I have my parents' connections to thank for that. Of course, I'm not the sort to impose on him often, but the situation is... well, it's not entirely bad, although it does require calling in a few favors from friends like him. Without his signature, I won't be able to gain access to the library's restricted section. Why is it restricted? Is that where they keep the books on the dark arts, huh? If I want to get more in-depth information on the Ermengarde Mansion, that is, not simply what they choose to show to the general public. Strange. But I suppose they might keep the more vulnerable books there. As much as I hate to admit it, there's always something people censor, and whatever it is, I won't ever find it in the general section. It has to be what they're keeping here, beyond the public eye. The thought of that alone makes me antsy. Thankfully, I don't have to brood over it. The wait for the professor doesn't last long. He never did enjoy making people wait. Likewise, he dislikes people who are tardy. He arrives 5 minutes after I do, greeting me with that kind smile and casual wave of his hand. I haven't seen him in so long, but it appears he hasn't changed much. His familiar presence alone is enough for a fond smile to spread across my face.
Professor Andrew.
Rebecca, didn't I say long ago you can drop the professor?
Yeah, weird.
You know I can't possibly do that. Even if I can. It feels disrespectful to call you by your name alone.
Because calling people by their name is so disrespectful.
Both you and Ashton never listen to this old man. Kids these days.
All right. But just for today, since you're doing me a huge favor, Andrew.
I guess you simply can't have it all, even at this old age. But pleasantries aren't what we're here for, yes? You mentioned you needed a permit.
Yes, sir, if that's okay with you.
More than fine. Anything in pursuit of knowledge, as they say.
He hands me the permit without further prompting or even asking what is going on. And just like he promised, he's also written a recommendation after his signature. This is more than enough to get me to those files. I mutter a small thanks before slipping it into my pocket. And then the friendly handshakes begin. Although when I look back up, his brows are furrowed, the very face of curiosity. Not surprising, considering how vague I've been during our little talk over the phone. Right then and there, I've decided to tell him if he ever asks. Maybe not all of it, but stuff he needs to know. It's the least I can do to thank him. As expected, true to his inquisitive nature, he asks.
If you don't mind, though, I know you've always been an eager learner, but may I know what in the restricted section that piqued your curiosity?
It's the Ermengarde Mansion, sir.
Oh my god, so many people have been curious about that. He's quick to raise an eyebrow at that, and for a while, I fear he'll take the slip of paper back. Is there something in what I said?
The ones they have out in the general isn't enough?
I'm, hoping for a more in-depth read, sir. More about the history and the people who once lived there. The general section doesn't have anything much on that.
Oh, I see.
Because everyone, or at least not everyone, but the people in charge of such things know what's going on, and they've been trying to hide it for some reason, because they want to feed the spirit that is at that mansion to keep it pacified. They don't want it venturing out like it has.
Well, you certainly aren't the first one to be enamored with that place. It doesn't shock me. The architecture is admirable, and the urban legends are something to talk about.
She didn't even mention architecture. She was talking about who lived there beforehand.
Why, just this past week, I've got a few asking me about that. Imagine that.
I think enamored might be a little too much to describe our interest in it.
Terrified.
But I have to agree. The mansion is beautiful, even with the renovations. They kept the stained glass windows, too. They are magnificent.
And cursed.
Oh, you've seen it.
I was there for a few hours to attend a housewarming party. The invitation was for my parents, but they couldn't make it. My mum used to work as a private tutor for the Evans. Hannah Wright?
Ah, I know of her. Her husband, too. Who doesn't?
He also holds a grudge.
Luxborn's most popular couple.
Wow. Something falls behind his eyes, the warmth in them suddenly gone, like he's reliving a painful, distant memory and seeing it play right in front of him. It disappears almost as soon as it surfaces, but that look has unsettled something in me.
Is something the matter?
Nothing much.
He's got a darkness within him. A darkness that he's hiding. I didn't know where to go with that.
But you know, you're already like a daughter to me. So if you could, do be careful with the friends you make.
Is this about the rights, sir?
Just a friendly advice from an old man. Don't think much about it.
Oh, it's not about the rights, it's just in general, but since you brought up the rights, hey, I'm not gonna lead you to the water, Rebecca. You need to drink it yourself.
Anyway, I have to leave now. Can't miss my weekly serving of bear claws.
Yeah, you look like you've been eating bear claws.
Say hi to your parents at the detective inspector for me, will you? I wish you luck with all that research.
I will. Thanks for this, Andrew.
Oh, look at how excited she looks. How adorable. Andrew gives my shoulder a light squeeze and a punch. The gesture of a younger me has always appreciated a good squeezing, and quickly crosses the street after. I watch him until he disappears behind the door to a cafe until the doubts swimming inside my head, thank you, Cora, for jumping in front of the screen, finds a moment to rest. Oh, and she farted. Whatever his business is with the rights isn't anything I should concern myself about. But somehow, in the grand scheme of things now, all of it feels oddly relevant. The how, though, I've yet to find out. I'm hoping the library will give me the answers I want this time. On a gloomy Sunday morning, the library is especially empty. The second floor in particular has, oh my god, more faceless people! I've always considered this place to be a sanctuary, a respite away from the hubbub of the city. As a child, I grew up reading books here, spending hours here to no end, poring over the pages, living out fantasies in my head until my parents called me home. And in my town, I don't really care too much for the library, and it only has a single floor. Very disappointing. Now it feels nothing like it. The silence is smothering, suffocating. Even with how clean they've kept the microfiche room, how the entire small of it lacks a speck of dust or clutter. The small of it? Entire small of it. I don't know what that means. Breathing is a struggle for some air. Not far into my stay, I begin to long for the noise outside, and perhaps as a way to calm this unease, I start to hum a tune. And sure enough, there's a librarian right there to shush me. Imagine that. Why, of all things, it has to be that silly nursery rhyme, I'm not inkling. I'm not an inkling. I'm an inkling. It does its job, however. It fills the lull with something far less awkward, far less deafening, and that is enough for a distraction. Oh my god, it was the song that child was singing. I have business here, and that song has business with the apparition. No time for silly daydreams, only important work to attend to. Even if there's a possibility of it being fruitless, by some means it feels like I do have to do it. If not for me, then for the people who have been affected by this. What do we even call this? A haunting? A Halloween prank gone, right? See, wrong. A curse? If Isabella were here, what would she say? Will she panic, like the scaredy cat she is? Will she be angry I only listen to her now? It all stems from that one moment in the movie house, doesn't it? We could have avoided this had we only taken her warnings to heart. One stupid mistake is all it took to send our normal lives on a downward spiral. That stupid mistake was being friends with Isabella. Or not taking her seriously, because come on. What kind of friends are you if you're not taking her seriously? Frankly, I'm no longer sure if I'm angry at myself for it or at the universe for throwing us into this mess. Why be angry at the universe? Like the universe is a sentient being that's controlling everything? No, God is too absurd, but the universe, oh my god, the universe makes sense. It's controlling everything. But we can only make do of what little we have, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Going here might not be the right decision, but it's a start.
A good start.
It doesn't take much time for me to find what I need. A microfiche of old newspapers, long kept in special storage cabinets at the far end of the restricted section. The year is in 1620s and beyond. They had newspapers back then? Of course they did. I mean, come on. Before the city of Luxborn even exists in the records, I mean, I think the printing press was invented in the 16th century. So yeah, right? I don't know, it's been a while. When the mansion has just been built, and Anselm is nothing more but a small, sleepy hamlet near a river. A lot of pieces are missing, days, sometimes consecutive weeks without any records remaining. Often, it goes on for years. Troublesome, but as it is, I am lucky enough to find anything at all, considering how far I'm looking back. Can't be picky now. Can't waste time mulling over what record keepers of the old could have done to make this a breeze for me.
I can still work with this.
The faint whir of the microfiche machine keeps me company as I go over each slide, each image, hoping for something that goes beyond what the local lore knows. There are snippets, little mentions of the family that once settled in the house here and there. The usual singing of praises for the couple who helped brought up what was once a tiny settlement into a buzzing town. Nothing substantial, nothing I didn't know before. continues on like this for a good while, until I come by the years after their deaths. The people of Anselm might have loved Lord William and Lady Elizabeth Ermengarde, mourned their passing and held them in high esteem in the years after, not knowing that they kept a sex slave of their own. Child? I don't know. They're blonde, she's like black hair. But it was their daughter. But it was their daughter that was remembered fondly by the townspeople, despite having black hair. If her parents built this town, Lady Charlotte was the one who made it prosper. Remarkable, considering it was a period of recovery from a bout of plague that killed half the town's population, including her parents. Oh my. Scandalous. Oh, no. It's, Heir puts a stop to local slave trade. Huh. I was just gonna say, that looks like the ghost right there on the block. And the heir was condemning her to death. And this guy was gonna bash her head in with a gavel. But no, it's free at last. What's surprising though, apparently her time also marked more than superficial changes to the place. She moved things, changed laws, altered old customs and traditions. If they were done on a woman's whimsy, it doesn't say, but she seems capable enough for more than that. Woman's whimsy. Seriously. The gist of it is, the town she rebuilt. It's what eventually grew to become Luxbourne City, while the nearby Anselm village remained as it was, a relic of the old. A frown swiftly forms in my face.
So, why is there a need to hide this?
Look at that scandalous picture. Look at that. One by one, I try to recall every lesson I've gone through, every book, paper, and journal I've read. None of those ever mentioned this. It's always the lord and the lady of the house, their endearing child, always an afterthought to those anecdotes. The one who always took her life in the end. Uh-oh. Never someone who restored a town from the brink of collapse, or brought new ideas to it. They wanted to rewrite history. Is it because she's a woman?
That pisses me off.
Me too, Rebecca. Granted, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Not all aspects of her can be considered admirable. But this is history. Some parts are bound to be naturally delve into unpleasant territory, whether I like it or not. Witch hunts. Oh my god. Dark hair. I just see dark hair everywhere. Luxbourne witch burns. That is who is haunting us, the Luxbourne witch. Condemned by Lady Charlotte. Witch hunts, for example, became common near the end of her life. Why? Which would have been completely unremarkable and might have gone to become a mere footnote in history if it didn't involve Lady Charlotte and the very slave she saved. Oh, shit. It caused quite a stir, enough to leave almost a week's worth of clippings. The girl was eventually burned, condemned by an entire town, at the word of Lady Charlotte alone. But this doesn't really have anything to do with this curse, does it? Unless that woman following us and the slave are the same person. A tale of revenge? How cliché. However, with the lack of accurate photographs, it's impossible to tell. Maybe if I squint, the illustration would start resembling her. It does to me. But in my field, it doesn't work that way. It shouldn't work that way. I'll be the laughing stock of the community.
This isn't going anywhere.
Okay, she's gonna write a paper on this. Mentally exhausted, I took a careful step away from the screen, pressing a palm to my tired eyes. The lack of ample light in this area doesn't help. A headache already threatens to form at the back of my head, yet I'm nowhere near figuring things out. This is simply too much to take in all at once.
I should have asked for someone's help.
Now I'm at a dead end. I start gathering everything around me and placing them back in their respective envelopes for storage. The motion's no longer new after volunteering here a number of times. I didn't make much mess anyway, considering the lack of materials available to begin with. I'll have to look somewhere else. But the where remains unknown, though. But just as I'm about to slip the last of the slides in, something catches my attention. My hand pauses, the microfiche halfway through its protective sleeve. This is one of the few I've set aside without taking a careful look at. It seems like a gossip column at first glance, but upon closer look, I slide it back to the reader, gently turning the dials in search of the page. It takes me some time, but once the image becomes clear, they must have had this drawing commissioned for their announcement. And they look. At least the guy looks like Luke. Ermengarde, heir, announces betrothal. Uh-oh. I don't doubt it. The details are far more intricate, their likeness very closer to how they might have appeared at the time. They're both recognizable this way, closer to those paintings I've seen in the mansion. However, it's the man standing beside her, Edouard Godfrey, according to the article that caught my attention previously. Oh, what if she had her burned at the stake because there was an affair between her betrothed, Edouard, and the former slave girl? Oh, that's why the apparition favors Luke, because Luke either resembles him or is somehow the rebirthed spirit of Edouard. And Hannah is Lady Charlotte? Her first cousin, and eventually her fiance. Whoa. Just letting the family pen dip into your ink, huh? You gotta go at least second cousin. No closer. Maybe it's the posture, the manner in which he holds himself. Or maybe it's the hair, that little bit coming down. Or maybe it's the shape of his eyes, though I can't be too certain about that until I've gotten a better reference. Nevertheless, there is a resemblance. He looks eerily like... Uh-oh. My head snaps up, glowering at whoever's running in the floor above. But there isn't a floor above. Any day, I'd march upstairs and reprimand whoever it is.
This is a library, for heaven's sake.
But now isn't the time. I've gotten what I need. Without wasting another minute, I hit the machine's print button for a copy of the page, while my other hand moves to put everything back into storage. A ragged Excel slips from me. Relief, perhaps? Or maybe this is already exhaustion. Regardless, soon I'm closing my eyes as I wait for the printer to finish, if only to stave off a headache building up from everything. No, don't, no. Sometime, I've even begun humming the same song again, for comfort. The song is really about Lady Charlotte, huh? Despite my doubts about this, despite all the tension on my shoulders, this may be a small find, but at least I can start somewhere. We can start somewhere, you and me, dear player, dear viewer. There's a way out of this. I know it. The printer sputters to a halt. However, its sound isn't what makes me snap my eyes open. Uh-oh. I don't know if you can hear that humming, but it's very disconcerting. Not to mention the fact that some fog has rolled into this part of the library, and there's a red light coming from the stairway, the only exit. Did I read that part? Feeling a chilly brush of air behind my back. Brief enough for something sickening to suddenly lodge itself in my throat while I take in my surroundings. Uh-oh, this is gonna be her death scene. It's that suffocating sensation again. I'm so glad there hasn't been any other, like, QTE things happening. That was me having to move my phone because I once again forgot it's there. Creeping to every part of me, crawling underneath my skin, draining me little by little of any strength. From that day in the mansion, God, there's gonna be a QTE now that I've said it. from that brief moment at the school. Without delay, I grab the papers and make a quick beeline for the door. Oh! Holy crap! On the ceiling! My whole body freezes.
What are you doing, Miss Pink?
Oh shit, it's the child. The child was rebirthed. The former slave was rebirthed into the child. I don't know. I hold my breath, not daring to make any noise. For a little while, only the sound of papers crumpling under my grasp fills the room. The excitement from earlier gone instantly, replaced by a cold, seeping dread spreading throughout my limbs. But more than the fear is the anger. It pains me to hear her using my own student's voice against me, and more than once I believed it was really her. She has no right.
Why don't you play with me?
Although she hasn't made a move. Not that I would say no. If there isn't a wall behind me, I'd probably take a step back. Anything to put a distance between us, no matter how small, as long as I'm out of her reach. But I steel myself, because if I do fall back, turn away from her, I'll be left with no way out. I am not dying here.
You think you scare me?
Miss Pink, don't be so rude. I'm waiting.
I'm not afraid of you, you spook. This is one Scotswoman. You aren't getting into an early grave without a fight.
Oh, and she suddenly switches into an accent. Lovely.
Come at me.
I expected she'll lunge, prove to me what a monster she is. Instead, all she gives me is a smile, twisted and gnarled. It's as if time has crawled to a stop at the sight of it. A split-second decision, and before I know it, my body shifts. Eyes closing in anticipation, hand grabbing whatever's solid enough on the nearby table and hurling at her. Coincidentally, it's a book. I don't bother looking if whatever I threw hit its mark. I run. As fast as my legs can carry me, despite my heart threatening to burst out of my chest. But in this maze of bookshelves with the whole place almost void of people. Uh-oh. Is there even a safe place I can escape to? No! Don't make me decide! No! Don't head upstairs! Crap! I don't want to be responsible for this. I don't want to be responsible. Oh. No. Alright, no matter how much I don't want to have to pick, I'm gonna have to do it. I don't think heading upstairs. Let's head for the door. If there's one, it is out of this room, out of this place, as far away as anyone can get from her. I can think about the rest of what I can do after I'm outside when there are other people I can ask for help. When she's not chasing me after me like this. There's no hesitation in my steps as I race for the restricted section's door, head downstairs, and barrel straight for the library's exit. Towards safety in a desperate bid for my life, library rules be damned! I can no longer hear her behind me, but I'm not taking any chances. Her breath almost escapes me as I near the door, and she's right there. A little more, when out of nowhere, a library cart careens from a blind corner and slams to my sides. Crap. My back hits the floor with a hard thud. The impact completely knocking the breath out of me. The copper tang of blood gradually spreads over my tongue as I fight to get my bearings back. I force myself to move, even with the excruciating pain coursing through my limbs. The exit's almost there, if only I can... But there's no moment's respite. The next thing I know, there's a heavy weight atop me, and cold digits slide around my neck. Tight like a vice. Pressing, closing in, leaving me gasping for air. Through my blurred vision, I can only make out the hateful gleam, the spite in her eyes as she looms over my body and her grip on my throat grows tighter. Desperation kicks in. My nails dig into her wrists as I struggle against her firm grip, trying to pry her fingers away. Normally, I would suggest going for the eyes, but you know, who knows with this one?
Let go. Let me go.
Keep the slider? within the green bar by moving the mouse. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh! No! Okay. Oh, I don't think twice. My limbs are moving on their own before what I did could fully register in my brain and my lungs could recover. Behind me, she lets out a cry, sharp, loud, and thunderous against the empty walls of the library. But the fear her wails bring compares nothing to the relief washing over me when I finally make it out. Holy crap. Okay. Awesome. Quick escape. What would have happened if we had gone upstairs, huh? My knees buckle as soon as my feet hits the pavement. It's surface cold and hard against my skin. I've only been there for a few hours, about 1 or 2 probably. I don't know anymore, it feels like an eternity all the same. My breathing hasn't slowed down yet, and I don't expect it to after going through that. I probably look the most undignified creature on a Sunday morning right now. Out of breath, disheveled, slumped here with a bloody lip and all. But at present, I simply can't bring myself to care, even when a few passers-by start giving me strange looks. Stare at me all you want, I don't give a single shite. I'm alive! I'm safe, please stop breathing. This isn't the end yet, but I'm safe. And inside my bag is something that could get us out of this mess. Nothing definite yet, I don't want to get my hopes up, but there's still something. Okay, just stop. Thank you. If Isabella is here, I'm sure she'll feel the same. She'll even be the first one who'll put her faith on it. Wherever this will lead us to is a victory on its own. Now, all that's left is to find the others, the rest of us trapped in this bloody nightmare. Unfortunately, there's no hope for Marianne. Right on cue, as if in answer to my previous thought, my mobile phone lets out a beep. I pick it up, simply hoping it's one of them. Only it's a voicemail that greets me. From Ashton. There's a pang of disappointment, of course, but it brings some reassurance that nothing's happened to at least one of them.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
He ends it right there, the message less than a minute long, curt, and gives nothing away. I let it ease my worries regardless and do as he asks. Because this, too, is another triumph for us. One less thing to worry about. ... Ashton's chapter! That means... And we're at the party. We'll find out what he was doing. So that means Luke's will be the last one. Alright, next time we shall start Ashton's chapter, which will probably be like, I don't know, 5-6 hours long. And then 5 and 6 hours of Luke's maybe? Who knows? I guess we'll see. Some other time, not right now.